Financial success is a spiritual journey for multi-passionate people because we're spiritual beings having a human experience. We are highly sensitive people. You're probably very spiritual. You're probably philosophical. You certainly feel the world much deeper than everybody else because of your highly sensitive nature. You probably consider yourself as an empath. You recognize you have a lot of intuition. You don't always act on it. And that is because, again, you're a spiritual being having a human experience. If you were to look at a neurotypical, they're human beings having a spiritual experience because they don't feel everything on the same level that we do, right? We feel much deeper, things much deeper. We think much deeper. We talk in a much deeper way. They prefer small talk and so on. And that is because they're human beings having a spiritual experience. So for them, to be successful as a human being having a spiritual experience is completely different. And, you know, if you look at all the self-help books and hustle harder, post 27 times a day or whatever it might be, these are things that burn us out. And that is because we have a highly sensitive nature. So we need to have business models that are in tune with our highly sensitive nature. And that is why I say success or financial success is a spiritual journey. Now, we have all these different talents. We're highly talented, highly creative people. We're brilliant problem solvers, and every single business on the planet is simply just people paying for a solution to their problem. As a result of this, this is why so many highly successful entrepreneurs, creative people are multi-passionate. I would say multi-passionate people are the most talented people on the planet because we can stack up our different multiple passions to solve a problem. And that gives us a completely unique value to the world, right? However, we also have a lot of creative blocks because of our highly sensitive nature. So it's a blessing and a curse. The blessing of our highly sensitive nature means that we have deep empathy, and the way to solve problems is to look at it from an empathy point of view. That's problem solving 101, is to have empathy, right? And because we're so empathetic and we've got pattern recognition skills, we're really good at empathizing with the user to totally understand what the problem is, and then using our pattern recognition skills to create the solutions. The big problem we have, and this is the curse of our highly sensitive nature, is we are very prone to creative blocks which get in our way. So we're going to talk about 4 of them here and how we must surrender to them, which is the spiritual journey. So, for example, failure. Failure is something that we've experienced in the past. It's caused us a lot of shame and trauma, largely because this is how neurotypical people look at it. This is, we're brought up in a neurotypical society. We're brought up in a specialist society, which is all based on the traditional path, where people usually forgo their dreams and their aspirations in order to get a job and exchange that for security. But that tends to be very difficult for multi-passionate people because we tend to be more self-employed. We're certainly more suited to be self-employed because we don't like being micromanaged. We don't like being told what to do, and we have all these unique skill sets, and we just don't understand a lot of the ways that neurotypical people do things, right? But as a result of that, we have a fear of failure, which runs very, very deep. The thing is that you cannot avoid failure. You have to surrender to failure. It's impossible to be successful in any entrepreneurial or creative realm without experiencing some kind of failure. So it's not about the resistance to failure or the avoidance of failure, because that's why you don't get started. That's why you want to know every step of the path before you start some sort of project, whether it be creative or business. You want to avoid failure. But as a result of that, you get stuck spinning your wheels and you don't get started because of this. You have to embrace failure. And it's just an experiment. That's all that is. And failure, you have to surrender to failure in order to be successful. It's the same with pain. Pain is inevitable in any kind of growth. If you grow as a creative person, an entrepreneur, in your relationships, as a human being, whatever it is that you want to do, you have to experience some sort of pain. If you go to the gym, you have to you lift heavy weights, which break down your muscles, which causes pain, and you do that so that they can grow back stronger. It's exactly the same. Spiritually, creatively, authentically, entrepreneurially, whatever it is that you want to grow in, you have to experience pain in order to break down so it regrows back stronger. So pain is just, you have to surrender to pain. To grow as a person, you need to surrender to pain. Cringe. People want to avoid cringe because they feel shame. But you shouldn't feel shame. You should feel pride. Because the people that talk about cringe are people that are too scared. They don't have the courage to be cringe. So what they do is they criticize other people. They project onto other people who are doing things. The only way to overcome cringe is to, the way I did it is I did 30 videos on TikTok on 30 days. And by about day 14, 15, I mean, I was terrified. The first few videos, you can still see them on my channel, but the first few videos were awful. However, I was proud of myself for posting videos that I knew were cringe. I just reframed it. It's just delusional reframing, right? I can either focus on the cringe and then delete the video, or I can focus on the courage it takes to post something knowing that it's cringe. And you know what happened? After day 31, I had my first viral video. I got over 250,000 views. And within 6 weeks of that, or 8 weeks of that, I had my first 5-figure month. And that all came from embracing the cringe. In 2025, if you want to be to be creative, entrepreneur, to make money, then you need to have content. You need to share your ideas with the world on social media, and that means embracing your cringe. So the most important thing I would say that you have to do is to surrender to cringe. But it's not shameful. Honestly, you should be proud of yourself for being cringe, because 99% of the population cannot do it. They do not have the courage to be cringe. So surrender to cringe. Then it's been misunderstood. The fear of being perceived is inevitable. Caring is optional. It's only if you care about what other people think. And I know that's really difficult because we're humans and we have been socially conditioned to care what other people think. But if you think about it, you have an option. Are you more worried about disappointing other people or disappointing yourself? Because if it's disappointing other people, then you are disappointing yourself. And that means you're perceiving yourself. And the reason you're doing that is because you're hiding parts of your personality away in order to fit in. So you have to overcome the fear of being seen. And again, this comes with cringe, right? It's those two are connected. What to do is post 30 videos in 30 days on TikTok, or post 30 tweets on Twitter. Or if you really want, if you really want to start off in the an entry level and be anonymous, do it on Reddit. I mean, that's how I started. I started posting on Reddit, completely anonymous. It can be quite brutal over there, but that toughens you up, and it's not personal because it's you're anonymous. But again, so to be successful, to be financially successful, to fulfill your creative potential, to fulfill your life's purpose, is to embrace success is a spiritual journey, because you're a spiritual being having a human experience. So hope this helps. Peace out.